come to you today as someone who carries within him the true aspirations of Zeon.
Hello everyone, my name is Zeon, you are my remnants, and welcome to the channel. And in today's video we are going to review the Final Fantasy XIV Bring Arts Estinien figure. As you all know, I love Final Fantasy. I did play Final Fantasy XIV back in the day, and I did actually main a Dragoon. So when this figure got announced, I was like, so we're going to go ahead and look at this figure, break it down, see what is good, what is bad, give it a score at the end, and let's figure out if you all should add this figure to your collection. Now, I will say this is the first Bring Arts figure I have bought. Everyone knows I love Play Arts, my favorite line. And so I wasn't really thinking of getting into Bring Arts, but with this release and also the full release of all the Final Fantasy IX characters, I'm going to be getting all of those because that's awesome that they're actually releasing a full cast of characters. So I'm going to go ahead, unbox this figure, take a look at it, and let's see what's going on here. So from my understanding and from the look of the figure, this figure is about the size of a regular figure arts figure or Figma figure, which I like those lines too as well. So I'm kind of excited because this figure, as you can see from the box art, and if you played Final Fantasy XIV and you've seen Dragoons, their armor is super intricate. A lot of ornamentation, a lot of, as you can see, spiky things going all over the place. So I'm really interested to see how well they packed all of this detail into like a 6-inch figure. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's unbox this thing here, and we'll go over. There's some really cool things about this figure that I really, really like. Alright, so let's take a look at that. Let's kind of go over what we get here. So of course we get the Dragoon Lance. One of the really cool things that I really like about this figure is that you get a little bust, and you can put the swappable heads on the bust or on the figure. So if you want to display the bust along with the figure as well, you can also do that, which I think is really cool, and I've never seen a figure have that. If you guys have seen figures with that, let me know, but this is my first figure that I have ever seen with that, so I think that's actually pretty cool. And the instructions, of course, are slide in out of the box. Hopefully these instructions are better than the Play Arts Kai instructions. That would be awesome. So let's go ahead and let's take the plastic clamshell thingy off, and let's see. Okay, just like the Figure Arts and Figma figures, this comes with a stand. Sweet. Alright, let's level 1. How do you do this here? Come on. Oh. There we go. I hate taking these things off sometimes. Alright, so just like, what is it? Figma that does it? Yeah, just like the Figma, you have a little stand with little docking points for all the hands. So it looks like we have open hands, we got some grasping hands. That's cool. We have one hand that comes with the eye. I don't recall what this is called in Final Fantasy XIV. I know it has some significance to the Dragoons, and for the life of me, I don't know what it's called. Alright, let's take a look at the little bust first, because I think this is fascinating. So like I said, this is a little tiny bust that you can put the swappable head on and have it display with the figure if you want. And I just think that this is really cool. I'm kind of hoping that like all of the Final Fantasy XIV figures come with this. And then, because it kind of looks like a chess piece or something, right guys? What do you think? That'd be really cool if like all the Final Fantasy figures came with this. And then you can, you know, put all of these like on a chessboard. I would totally do that as a display. I think that's really cool. And it does have a lot of detail. I don't think it has as much detail as the actual figure, but we'll compare the two. But I'm looking at the head here. That definitely looks like Estinien from Final Fantasy, who, I forget the name of the race. They're kind of like the elves of Final Fantasy XIV. But this is a really cool concept. I really like this idea. Let's take a look at Estinien himself. Now, I have heard of some QC issues with his arms, so I'm kind of concerned. But let's go ahead and let's take a closer look at this guy. I think I might even turn on the... Let's turn the flash. Alright guys, turn the flash real quick so we can get a better look at the detail on this figure. Holy shit, is there a ton of detail. A lot, and color variation as well. You got some silver, some black, some, what is this, purple I think? Again, colorblind if you guys haven't watched my other videos, so... But I can tell that there's some kind of a bluish purple color here. Got some black, silvers. This is a different color here, it looks like. So much detail in this freaking figure. Like, I'm just going to shut up and just rotate him around. You guys can take a look for yourself. Now, I have noticed in looking at this that some of the paint, especially on these light-colored areas, is not painted the best. It kind of comes out a little bit. I noticed it here on the left arm as well. On the very left little bit. So not a huge issue. That's really the only issue that I am seeing here. It's weird. Like some... Well, there's some scratches on the paint. That's kind of strange. A lot of shading going on here, actually, if you look at this. That just looks really awesome to me. Now, I'm concerned about the arm here. And I've had some people... I have seen a couple videos and some comments about his arm breaking. And, I don't know. Just concerns me. I mean, I bought this one off Amazon, so if it did break on camera, I would just return it. Because, like, I'm not doing anything crazy with it. It feels like mine are okay. It feels like it's turning just fine. Yeah, I'm good, it looks like. Alright. Woo! I've seen some QC issues on this figure. I'm glad mine's alright. Let's take a look at articulation real quick, because I've never... Normally I don't do articulation too much, because normally articulation's good on these figures, but I've never reviewed a Bring Arts figure before, so I'm kind of excited. Like, let's take a look here. So we got arm, more roughly 90. Shoulder, kind of 90. You got all the... You got to understand, there's a lot of spikes on this guy, so I'm sure he's not going to bend like every which way or anything like that. And I just don't want to like handle him too much because he has so much sticking out of him. I'm afraid I'm going to snap something. It's like, this is one of those figures I'm going to put in a pose and like leave him alone. Like, yeah. So we have some ab crunch. See, it's like hard because I'm touching the spikes. God damn it. We got, looks like we got multiple points of crunch here. The waist is floating. That's interesting. But I guess you're supposed to have this belt covering it, so it's not a huge deal. Leg has some pretty good articulation. Let's see, knee. Double jointed knee. And it's a segmented knee. That's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of like a Gundam. And then look at, that is cool. I like stuff like that. So like when the knee is completely flush, you have this like straight up armor going down. And then as the knee comes out, you have separation on the knee. This is something that's done in like Gundam model kits. As you guys know, I love building Gundam models. That is too cool. Got articulation on the foot, and just all of these. I'm nervous to handle this. I've never been nervous to handle a figure before, but I'm like kind of nervous about handling Estinien here because he just has so much shit that I feel like could break, and I'm really concerned about breaking it. So, articulation is good though. Just be careful with it, I must say, because obviously the character has a lot of things sticking out of him. I mean, just look at his... Oh no. Just look at his, on his arms here, he has a gauntlet. On his legs, he has spurs. He has, things sticking off of his belt. He's got stuff on his back. He has, I mean, this guy is just, he's really horny, is what I'm trying to say. So, definitely be careful posing this guy and, like, leaning him against, you know, things or whatever. Like, I don't even want to lean him against this, but I'm going to do it. Let's go ahead and let's get his spear together before I break anything else here. So, and his spear also has little spiky things, which is ridiculous. I have to look this up. This is interesting. So, there's 2 pieces that come with the Dragoon lance, spear, whatever you want to call it. Has closed wings and there's open wings, and these basically interchange in this open slot here, and they go in there. I would assume that this is for when the Dragoon is not in use, and this is for when it is. But again, I don't know. I'm like learning as I build this thing, because there's a lot of things I don't remember about Final Fantasy XIV. And since there is going to be a Gunblade class, I will be playing it again, so I will be definitely learning things really quickly. And I mean, this thing is pretty tall. It's taller than he is, which is normal, you know, in the Final Fantasy games. And again, this thing just has a lot of detail, a lot of color variation. You got your silver, you got your gold, you have this, I guess this is like a purple, and this is like, I don't know what that is, but there's just a lot of stuff. And then you have this red wire going down to the pointed part. I mean, there's just so much detail in this figure, and this figure is like a 6-inch figure. It's really cool, and I'm concerned about the fragility of the figure, if that's a word, how fragile the figure is. But let's go ahead and how about we get this stand together, and let's get him in a cool pose, and let's talk about final verdicts. Alright guys, so we got Estinien set up in a pretty decent pose. I'm going to go over my final thoughts and verdicts on this figure. Let's go over the positives first, because in my opinion on this figure, the positives far exceed the negatives. There's a lot of positives on this figure, especially being that it's in this first kind of line of Bring Arts figures. Bring Arts just came out last year, a new line by Square Enix, these 6-inch scale figures. So this is of that new wave. So this is a pretty, still very new line. So let's go over the positives on this figure. The detail in this figure is really astounding. You have the metal-plated armor here with shading throughout. You have all kinds of different colors going on. You have a lot of highlights and accents. We have the plated dragon armor underneath. We have this. We have different materials. We have like a rubbery piece here for the waist skirt. The Dragoon Lance has multiple different shades as well. A lot of detail. Just a really impressive looking weapon. The helmet looks amazing. And then, of course, accessories. We get this awesome bust that you can put Estinien's head or spare head on, and you can display with the figure if you want. We have the Eye of Sauron. I know this is the Eye of Nidhogg. I had to look it up. It's the dragon that Estinien kicked his ass before the game of Realm Reborn, and I think comes back as a boss in Heaven's Ward, I think. So that's really cool. We have multiple hands. We also, something I didn't show you guys, on the back of Estinien here, you actually can add this little plug thing here. See this little thing right here? You can actually put the Dragoon Lance on his back. So, and you just have a lot of options with this figure. And then you have this stand. The stand is very basic, but it's just, it's just really easy to just prop him behind it, or you'll see later, put him up in the air for some cool Dragoon jumps like the Dragoons are known for. Simple, effective, nothing too crazy. And it's great because this is like the action bases on Gundams, and some of the like Figma figures have this where there are screws in the side here. So if this ever gets loose, you can just go ahead and tighten them up, and you'll be good to go. So there's just a lot of positives on this figure all the way around. And it is not a cheap figure. I mean, I got this figure for $90 on Amazon with free shipping. It basically evened it out compared to me ordering it from Japan. So, but let's go over You heard all the positives. Let's discuss the negatives, and there's not that many. I'm going to take 1 point off for some sloppy paint application here and there. Mostly on these highlighted light-colored areas. There's some paint going into the other parts. That's just really minor. They're not that serious of a detail issue. I'm going to take a point off for the arm joints. Even though my Estinien's arm joints seem to be working fine, I still find that, and maybe it's because I have like a preconceived notion about the arm joints, but I still feel like it's weird. Like, it doesn't feel smooth like it should, you know what I'm saying? So that's 2 points I'm going to take off for that. I was thinking of taking a point off for the like fragileness of this figure, because of the fact that he has so many sticky, so many pointy parts coming out of him. I was debating on if I should even go ahead and take a point off for that, but I mean, that's the design of the character. I can't really fault the figure for having that design, because that's how Estinien looks. That's the Dragoon armor, that's the style. So it's faithfully replicated in the figure. My advice, of course, this is not a figure to be played with. This is a collectible figure that you put with your other Bring Arts figures or what have you, and you make them look badass, and you keep them in a cool display. That's what this kind of figures are for. So I can't take a point off for that, because that's how he's supposed to look. So 2 points taken off, sloppy paintwork, and for the weird design choice of the articulation in the shoulders, which I think is why people are having problems with the shoulders breaking. Otherwise, the figure is great. I can't say enough good things about this figure. I was really iffy about this figure when I bought it, but the more pictures I saw of it, the more I was like, I have to get this figure as a Final Fantasy fan, and someone who loves Dragoons. Hell, I started replaying Terra recently because on the PS4 version of Terra, they finally caught up to the PC version, and Terra now basically has like a Dragoon class called Valkyrie, and I was like, I want to play that. That is so cool. So I've always been a big fan of Final Fantasy. I've always thought Dragoon was the coolest job. I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with me on that. Old school Final Fantasy fans always thought Dragoon was like the coolest job ever. I mean, you're Dragon Slayer or Dragon Rider, depending on which Final Fantasy you're in. Who doesn't want to be a freaking Dragoon, right? So definitely 8 out of 10. That would make this an A double figure. So if you guys don't know my scale, my scale runs kind of like this. 5 out of 10 is an average figure, so you can call that a C. 6 out of 10 is a B. 7 out of 10 is an A. 8 out of 10 is an A double figure. 9 out of 10 is a glorious figure. 10 out of 10, greatest figure that ever lived. I definitely put this in that 8 category. It's a A double figure. An above average, amazing figure. Is it the most amazing thing of all time? No, it's not. But this is a really, really impressive showing by Square Enix in their Bring Arts line, and it makes me excited to see what else they end up doing with this line, because there may be some obscure characters that they end up doing in this line that they don't do in Play Arts. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love an Estinien Play Arts figure, because the Dragoon Play Arts figure is just crazy rare and expensive, and every time I almost win an auction, I get outbid by a stupid amount of money. So if they want to release this as a Play Arts figure, I will buy that too. But I'm hoping that the Bring Arts is that intermediate line where they put out stuff that they don't want to kind of commit to hardcore, because Play Arts is an expensive line. Bring Arts is, about half the price of Play Arts is. So if they do that, I'm totally cool with that. And I would love to see more Final Fantasy XIV figures, and I really hope they continue this trend of these busts, because I would love to make a little chessboard out of these busts here. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comments below. If you have it, let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you liked the video, found it informative, please leave it a like. Share this video around with your other Final Fantasy and action figure enthusiasts. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out my Patreon. We have mostly benefits for Team Titan members. Team Titan season finale will be coming out soon. Season 2 is also being written. If you enjoy my machinima part of my channel, please stay tuned for that. Or if you want to support me by buying a shirt, go ahead to my Design by Humans website and buy a Destiny shirt. I'll be making some new shirt designs as well. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for future creative content. As always, stay creative and Zeon!